Hello, friends. I am in the Zoom room. And this is role play. And role play is a class for you to roll around inside your own skin and play with sensation, play with what comes up, and use this time to process anything that your body needs to process. And sometimes that's emotional stuff. Sometimes it's food. Sometimes it's like regular health stuff. Sometimes it's a small cat. She's really crazy popping around. The other one's sleeping right here. And poor Gaylord yesterday face planted yesterday. He was sitting on my lap and the little girl came out and he went to sort of jump. I don't know if he in midair decided that he didn't want to bang into her, but he like face planted. Now he's got like a little bruise on his face. I feel so bad for him, the poor thing. Anyway, that's what I was talking about earlier with the cats. So we're going to play with a couple of different types of attention. In movement analysis, in Laban movement analysis, we have two ways of considering our attention to space. Well, there's multiple ways, but there's two ways that we have like an effort, not like how hard we work, but what the flavor of our work is. And those are direct space and indirect space. And so like, in indirect space, it's like this global awareness where I'm kind of taking in everything around me. It's like if we open up to the periphery and let our awareness get very big and expansive, where we're kind of lightly touching everything in our awareness. That's that sort of indirect space in Laban, where it's not like a focused pinpoint, but it's expansive and we're aware of the space around us. Direct and pinpointed would be like focused direct space. So I could either be like, it's right here, or I'm not sure where my glasses are. Let me take in the whole space so I can see them. So these are these two different ways of conceiving of space. And then we can do it with our body and our attention, where we're like in this sort of open monitoring, open awareness, where we're just allowing things to come into our awareness, things to come into our attention. Or we can be very specific, like I'm just going to feel into my cheekbones, right? Or I'm just going to feel into my heart. Heart can be kind of expansive, but where I'm just feeling, sometimes when we have pain, it's very pinpointed and focused. So maybe just feeling into the pain. So what I want us to start doing is playing with the open awareness and the open attention, but taking it into the sensation within our body. So imagining like our skin as this container for everything that's on the inside. And we can even think about like the little soft hairs on our skin as taking in information, like they help us feel the air, the temperature, our clothing, just our relationship to being in the world. So coming to this sort of global sensation of feeling what it feels like to be inside your skin. And if it's possible to take that away from a story and just take it on as sensation, so that I'm in my skin and I'm sensing what it feels like to be inside my skin. We can also start to take it on the sounds that are around us. So in our sort of open awareness, open attention, open monitoring, we're allowing the whole everything that's going on to sort of wash over us. So like in my house, I can hear the refrigerator. I have my little earbuds in, so it kind of makes sound weird, but I can hear my voice. I can hear the movement of my clothes. So just tuning into this sort of global perspective of sound, opening that up. So if we were really trying to hear one thing, we would tune toward that, but let's try and keep it expansive and global. So we're opening up the attention, opening up the awareness to just anything that's happening. And as you're in that open awareness, anything that's happening, imagine that your whole inner body is just sort of swimming around in there. So there's no one single point that has ownership of all your awareness. And within movement, you can allow any kind of movement to sort of bubble up. So taking this idea of this expansive awareness that's sort of global for us, and then plopping ourselves into the fluid system of being in our body. So within this awareness, maybe we can start to feel our rise and fall of our breath. And if we just imagine a layer deeper than just my lungs breathing, but thinking of like my cells breathing. So I'm coming into this like deep cellular respiration, which is happening in every cell in my body. So again, it's this expansive, open out sense of breathing in the whole body. And I'm in this fluid system. So like the cells are breathing, but then outside of the space, there's even that extracellular matrix, there's fluidity. And moving in and out of that from one cell out is waste and also nourishment. So things are coming and going within that cellular system. But we're taking on this idea of being this fluid system with these little tiny, tiny, tiny things happening all over the fluid system. And we're allowing that to drop into our bodies. And we're going to take this into really open movement. So if we were in continuum, we would talk about sort of like wave-like or tentacle-like movement. So let's bring on this idea of having this soft, delicious, luscious, fluid octopus body. And the intelligence that goes with that octopus body, right? So that every little tentacle, every skin surface, even our eye, or maybe we have one, maybe we have two, our big octopus eyes are like taking in all this information. But we can also take in all this information from our skin, from the movement of our body, right? If I just move my body, what am I learning about my environment? Or what am I learning about the environment inside my body? So inviting in this idea of micro movement and allowing the idea of the micro movement to kind of squish around and ring out the inner body. But it's like your whole body is this spongy octopus, a balance of fiber, like fibrousness, and fluidity. So we're going to take on one more idea, and that is that with each breath, we're going to imagine that as we inhale, we do that deep cellular breathing, our whole body is growing slightly. And as we exhale, our whole body is shrinking slightly. So it's this natural sort of expansion, growing and shrinking with the breath. And this can go in any way that feels good. And eventually I'm going to put on music, but for right now, this could be a seated exploration. This could be laying on your back, on your stomach, in your bed, in your chair, in any way that feels interesting, just allowing yourself to feel what it feels like to wear the skin or the coat or the clothing of you, like imagining that that's part of who you are. So it's not just like something on the outside, but it's an integral part of you. And just feeling that whole thing in this fluid system, tuning to the rise and fall of the breath, almost like waves going through your body. So there's this expansion and then kind of coming back to itself, gathering in, and then radiating out, moving from this inness to this outness with breath. And the outness could still be completely within your body, sensing within your system, but allowing yourself to have this expansive awareness through your body, through sensation. And also allowing yourself to feel whatever surfaces you're connecting to. So where you're touching down to the ground or into a piece of furniture or anything else, just feeling into that connection. So initially, the whole role play idea was to really shift your relationship with gravity so that just the natural gravitational pull of the earth in connection to the fluid in your body would hydrate tissue and process some of this stuff that's hanging out in your system. So yeah, everything you've ever experienced is somewhere in the cells and tissues of your body. And sometimes it can get kind of shut down and locked in. So we're inviting it to come gently out, to maybe surface just a little bit, letting your system and your fluid intelligence in this very open awareness, open monitoring, big picture way become more easy. And if you feel like, oh, it's too out there, I don't feel like myself, then come into one simple move. And what you could just do, like a heel rock on the floor. And I'm doing a heel rock with my knees bent, just letting it ripple through my body. I could do this with my legs straight. Coming into something simple and familiar, or a cat-cow, or walking around. You could even imagine that your awareness is doing this dance, this fluid rippling and waving through your system, inviting any stuck parts to just gently, easily start to free up a little bit. It doesn't have to completely explode open. It can be just a little teeny look out, just testing the water. If you've ever been snorkeling and seen an eel in the reef, they just hang out there. They're like in their little secret environment. They might come out a little bit and explore, and then they'll pop back in there really fast if they see anything uncomfortable. So imagining inside your fluid body, your fluid system, any little parts of yourself that need to come to the surface, that would serve you by coming out just a little bit to check out the waters, to integrate into the whole system of yourself. And coming back to the growing and shrinking with the breath whenever you want to, like letting yourself expand away from center and then come back into center. You know, closing up shop and going in deep inside can be very nourishing. So sometimes we don't need to be all out there. Sometimes we just need to come in and enclose on ourselves. So as we're playing with this more expansive open awareness, can I be in my little enclosed shape and still be in an expanded sense of awareness? So it's not locked in. I'm not monkey minding on the list of tasks I have to do today or anything like that. I'm just staying present with the movement in my body and inviting in the whole participation of the live coral reef that is my body and all the things inside, right? The health of my fluid system. And the tools for this are really curiosity and imagination and a sense of humor. Let yourself roll and fall around so the play part comes on. And if you want it to be like, I mean, we've been working with all of this watery imagery. So let's start to add a little bit of sound to it. And the sounds that I'm going to work with are like shh, like a sha, shh, like water spray sound. And then also letting my breath come up from my lungs through the open cave of my mouth and imagining like there's shape with that breath. So as I'm letting out this sound, it's like I'm creating spaciousness in the interior of my body, in the interior of my throat and lungs. Let yourself enter into the exploration. And it's your own exploration. Like I'm leading all these ideas, but maybe you're somewhere totally different. That's fine. The whole idea is just entering into the territory. It's like going on an adventure. And we never quite know what's going to happen in there, what we're going to encounter. Expansive octopus body. When you can imagine that you're in the water, that the water is moving you, or you can just let the water in your own body move you. Let yourself play with it. How would you move if you were an octopus? How would you move if you had those tentacles and that skin that could change color? And your whole form, you could change your whole form so completely. How would that feel? What would that be like? Well, how could you explore that? And the intelligence, like if an octopus loses a limb, they can grow it back. And I actually heard, I think that that's true of babies if they're young enough, like really newborn babies, like if they lost a finger, they could regrow it. I can't remember where I heard that. Maybe it's not true, but I'm pretty sure it's true. So very young. We're not talking like a 4-year-old, but probably like within, weeks or months of being born. Letting your awareness be so spacious and expansive. So there's this idea of interoception, which is what we feel in the inner workings of our body, our sensation of the internal parts of our body. Could be our breath, our heartbeat, even feeling movement within our body, feeling the movement of our systems. But there's also exteroception. So our awareness that is feeling what's around us, sensing into what is outside of us. And when we go into this open monitoring, sometimes it's interesting to be in that spaciousness of what's outside of us. What is there? We could also think of playing with the negative space around our body, moving into it. And as I'm like sitting here, I'm looking outside and it's been snowing and we've had our ice storm and it's like white and it's like the frost giants have been out there. The hoary frost giants are out there creating this world. And here I am in this warm house, moving in my animal body, rolling around on the floor. I'm warm enough. How delicious is that? What can I feel grateful for as I'm here in my body, in this spaciousness and this vastness? Yumminess. So we also have proprioception. Proprioception is like, I can close my eyes and touch my finger to my nose. Like it's the awareness of your body moving through space, relating to other body parts, or I can reach over and put my hand on the floor and come up even with my eyes closed. Then there's also kinesthetic awareness. And what's the kinesthetic awareness? It's partly my awareness of the space around me, my kinesphere. And it's also my understanding of my own movement. So feeling into like the kinetics of my movement, how one thing relates to another, relates to the outside. So if we start to play with all of those ways of knowing what's going on, expanding into more possibility with our awareness, in the interest that life becomes more interesting and more fun and more participatory, I can notice, oh, this thing happened. And then I felt this other thing happen in my body. And then this other thing came up. And then I felt this tension over here. Then I expressed it. And then it was able to be released. Like there's all these different ways of being with our bodies, in our bodies. developing these sort of different systems of awareness. And it's never too late. Even if you're paralyzed, even if you can't move your arms or legs, you can still feel the movement of your breath. You can still sense into that shape. So, or even imagine your body moving. And that's another thing I think, like people who've lost limbs often have the phantom limb. They can feel it. The brain is putting it together. So imagine for us that we've got these whole octopus bodies. How does the brain put together the fluidity and the fluency of my octopus body, even if I don't move at all? Can I be in that space, or very tiny micro movement? Is there some part of me that can still be fluid? My eyes, my jaw, my neck, my throat. So letting yourself take that expanded awareness and start to bring it into yourself. So that instead of thinking of the exteroception, we're really going interoception, into feeling, into sensation. And imagining yourself just shining the light of awareness inside your system. And as you're shining that light of awareness, better pack a big dollop of loving kindness with it. So we're not here to judge or to berate or to perfectionize. We're just here to be in the system, to feel the aliveness of your system. And just to see how much of your whole body you can bring online in that sense of open awareness, open monitoring, wave-like and tentacle-like movement. When we have pain, it's very easy to go specific, like, oh, this thing hurts right here. And then all my awareness goes into that one area. And then as all my awareness goes into that area, it becomes more intense because I have so much awareness there. So what if I start to diffuse that around my whole body? Can I bring my awareness to a different location, or just expand it out to the whole inner surface of my body, or the deep, deep surfaces, like within surfaces? Surface is the wrong word. The deep, deep areas within my body. So I am going to screen share a sound. And we will get to just play in there for maybe 10 minutes or something, just a good short play within our own bodies with music and less talking from me. If it gets too loud, just let me know. It's quiet right now, but it'll start to come up. is nice to work with in these explorations is moving towards the unfamiliar in movement. So trying out things that are new, or slowing down things that you already know, but trying to move into new possibilities. So we're working with like expanding the matrix of possibility. So if something feels very familiar in movement, shift it slightly. It doesn't even have to be a huge shift. It can just be a small shift to change it. And another great thing is to like not have a goal, but just to be moving, just to move. I mean, the only goal is really just to build the awareness and to make these internal connections. Okay, there's a lot of goals. Hydrate our fascia, bring our systems into coherence. But that doesn't have to happen. It doesn't even have to happen now or tomorrow or any other day. We can just be with ourselves swimming in the ocean of movement, as big or as small as that is. can be done in any kind of position. It could be, seated. You can do it so small nobody can see it. If you need to, just move into yourself. Or you can do it big. Yeah, that is Ambient Fields, my friend Jeff Gersh playing guitar. So everyone in TV land, feel free to continue your exploration. And if you want to hear more about this idea from a scientific viewpoint of open monitoring and interoception, listen to Andrew Huberman's ADHD podcast. It's somewhere around like an hour and 13 minutes or 16 minutes in where this all comes up. But we also can just explore in our own bodies and see what's in there, what's delicious, what do I need to chew on, what do I need to digest more, and how can I be in relationship with the expansiveness of my being. So that's my invitation. The expansive being. So I'm going to stop recording.